My name is Pieter. I'm an account manager for Amoobi in Belgium. And actually I have a background as well at Ahold Delhaize, which is a major food retailer, and Decathlon, which is a sports retailer. So that's a bit about my background. I'm part of Amoobi. We're in Belgium situated, but we also have an office in New York in the US, which means we're internationally a bit around where we do our work. And so what we do is we try to mostly optimize category. We do category optimization for retailers linked with the technology from Xovis and then the software and every services that we link up to it. So usually, if we go into possibilities for you as retailers, you have some tools available that you can use for do some tracking and do some analysis and make sure that your categories are optimized and you get everything from it that you want. However, you're somehow, in some cases, you're a bit limited because the most of the data that you have access to is sales and loyalty. So that means, let's say you have 100 people coming in through your stores, then you'll have a view of, let's say 20 bought something. Your view will mostly be on the 20 that bought something. However, thanks to the technology here and then the things, the software and everything that we link to it, we give you a view of the entire 100. So not only the 80 extra who didn't buy, but also the 20 that bought. And so you have a full view actually of shoppers in your store, because what we do actually is more than just counting in and out when they enter and exit the store, but it's actually the full view, how they act within the store, how they move, where they stop, and what time does that take, and how do they go between, are there specific links? And so we can go into logical adjacencies, optimal space, larger, smaller, how should we do it? And the role of end caps and much more, signing, communication as well, promotion tracking, so and all of that. Let's see here. So for us, the uniqueness, you could say, is actually the sensors from Xovis that we use. We stitch them, so we say stitch, get them together, so that gives you a full view of an entire store. As you can see here, this is a 2,000 square meter store. And we always have a centimeter level precision because of obviously your category is divided into different parts. So you can really, because it's that precise, we can confidently say when we do draw certain analysis that it is for that specific part. Whether it's a 2,000 square meter store or a 10,000 square meter store. For us, both works, everything in between goes. There are different KPIs that you'll have to access to. Things that I just mentioned, such as the shopper flow, dwell time, so how long did they stand, how long are they staying here, how long did they move, where did they move to, conversion rate as well. We can very easily link sales data into the system as well, so then you can also see not only where they spent most time or how they went, but also the conversion rates. And then obviously this all helps for your targeted space optimization in general. Now it helps you understand mostly to how shoppers interact with your departments, how they move, where they go, even go for an opportunity analysis, because you can use it in different ways, and I'll show it in a moment actually. You can use it beforehand as an inspiration to see where should we do some testing and what can we try and what could help us, where are opportunities, but also after, pre-post. Did it work? Did it not work? Should we roll out? Should we try again and go back to the drawing board, etc. And final point before I forget, also there's an added value extra for potential partnerships with your producers. So your manufacturers, because we work with retailers and brands alike. And for both, it can be very interesting to have these insights, perhaps do certain testing. And we've seen great pluses as well, both in sales revenue stream, but also in the interrelationships between both. Important to know from this, to take is, like I said in the beginning, so we've got an office in Belgium, we've got an office in New York in the US as well. So that means we've got partners, retailers and brands internationally. So we're not limited to a very specific region here. As well as you might think, or most seem to think of our clients, is that you need a very large set of stores to analyze, to have the system installed in, to be able to draw any analysis and find trends, but that is not the case. From actually a very limited set of stores that are representative for the group or biggest part of the group, we can draw very big analysis already and trends that will apply everywhere, regardless of certain differences among stores. And then you can roll out, test, etc. Voila. So in a category optimization process, what usually happens is the way I described it just now. You start with, for instance, a diagnostic first from our part. that we can do together, perhaps some things you want to look into, inspiration that you're looking for, and then we'll see what we find for specific categories you want to look at. This might give some inspiration as to, okay, this should be tested, that could be interesting, that should move more to that side, we should try in that. Communication in that area is not working, how? Okay, and then inspire for tests to be done. We do the tests, you do the resets for instance, we find out which ones are successful, and then you can roll out and deploy in a bigger area and on a much bigger scale. Finally, after that, like I said, I mentioned the pre-post. You have your pre-diagnostic and your post-diagnostic. What's the difference? What worked? What did not? Maybe we should fine-tune a little bit and then potentially roll out, go further. But actually, it is not just that. It's not only test related in between those times, and I'll show it in the use case that we have at the end. We can go further than just between categories. There's communication that we can check, adjacencies, the linking of those and neighboring categories, flow within the store, communication signage, end cap, POS materials, so all things that we can look into. Just depends on the things that you want to test and want to potentially improve. For instance, grocery example for pre-packed bread. Now all use cases, we tweaked them a little bit. We tweaked them in the sense of the photos just to anonymize, because discretion is very important for us. But there are real use cases and all real results, just so you know. Voila, pre-packed bread. We took our own photos. Luckily the department does not, looks a bit more realistic than that. But there's several categories that we look into. First of all, what is it based on? This is automatically generated, but it's based on visitors. So people passing through your category at least 1 second up to 4 seconds. Percentage of stoppers, that means they stop there for at least 5 seconds. And conversion linked to the sale data and then the sales that we see from it. So what can we identify? Why is this actually a great use case to show? Is because you have the very different categories and the results that you get from it. There's a top performer. Usually, as it says, top performers perform well in all, performs very well in visits, percentage of people who actually stop in front of it after visiting, and the conversion as well. So, okay, pretty easy. Usually one that you can place anywhere in the department because it will drive traffic and people will go there and your shoppers will visit anyway. There's the average performer, performs quite well, similarly to the top performer in your visits and your stopping percentage. However, the conversion is much less. Could be an indication that within that category, some things need to be changed perhaps. Perhaps it's pricing, perhaps it's communication, signing, something is perhaps not clear, but to check. Underused space, however, high in footfall, so high in visits, but at the same time, the conversion is very bad. It's very low compared to the rest, and the stopping percentage as well. If you see, it's already 2 spaces out of 6 that are underused. That means, okay, great location, good footfall, but conversion is not good. Perhaps we need to reduce space. Perhaps because the space that it's receiving for what it is perhaps too much. Whilst, alongside from that, you've got opportunities, which is actually the same way around. So lower in footfall, however, great potential because the stopping power, the percentages, 48, 45 here percent, compared to the rest is on the high side, the high end. But still, and in conversion until medium till upper usually percentage. So there's some potential here perhaps to move. Here's the potential to reduce, because taking up too much space for what it is, what it brings, internally, performing great overall. So, together with the retailer, what did we decide to do? Drive engagement. So we start from the right, the top performer, like I said, you can usually move them around, will still drive good scores. Move them more to the center. The opportunities, what were they lacking? They were just lacking visits. So just footfall, people passing through. So we bring them closer to the center and mostly closer to the good performers, just to drive your traffic also to those sides. Because what we could expect is from this side, once they get the traffic, they already have the conversion, they already have the stoppers, that should drive sales up, should. And the underused space, move away and reduce mostly, given that the performance is not very strong. Now, obviously what it's about is results, and these were the results that we saw. So there's 2 sides, the pre and the post, right? In the visits, like I said, in stopping percentage, considers is staying longer than 20 seconds. So that's really considering, seeing what you want to do. and then conversion finally. And so main thing to take away was turnover was an increase by 15%. A real turnover that we saw. How? Visits went down just a touch, which could also be very well the period of the time of the year that was, or even just linked to the store. So it stayed more or less the same. Stopping percentage increased slightly. However, what we saw as well is that the considering percentage went up as well, and then especially also conversion. Now, what was also because of a higher consider rate, we saw that the value of the products that were purchased and where we saw the conversion was actually a lot higher, which is why here you'll see it's a 4% increase in conversion, but in turnover it was 15% up. It's because the value of the products purchased went up as well. Not just, so not only just they bought more, but they bought in higher value. And so that was a plus overall that kind of shows the entire general, types of changes that we could do. But there's another DIY home improvement retailer, a client of ours that we work with for the faucets category. Now, you can't always go, let's move within the category, let's displace this, let's take that to a different side. Sometimes how it is set up and how it is built in the right way, or at least we get the impression and see from the data that it comes from the right way, but perhaps location is the issue. Drawing traffic sometimes can be the issue as well, as we see here. So what was the case? Here is the faucets category to the left. However, main traffic usually takes this route. That means this part is a completely cold zone and was completely, let's not say ignored, but there was less traffic significantly because the main flow always went to the right. And actually what you see for faucets is one that we could compare to, let's say, opportunity, as we saw before. Why? Because in visits, it ranks very low. Out of the 19 different categories, it was only 15th. However, in stopping percentage, making people stay for longer than 55 seconds, and conversion rate, it places second overall, because an 81% stopping percentage and 59 in conversion, which is very high, especially compared to the rest of the departments. So there's a big opportunity here, but you need traffic. So together with retail, what we discussed is actually creating a type of end cap that was more inspirational, gave more communication, better signage. As some, this is not the one I'm talking about, but like some big Swedish retailers might do, they show you the end result. They show you what it's like, inspirational. They show you the room. They show how it can be. And so with faucets as well, it became an inspirational end cap, just to let you see what it could be and how it could be done, and mostly to draw the eye of the shoppers passing through. That was the idea. So not moving around within the category because that was performing well. It's more inspiration, drawing attention on the end cap. Now for results, visits, 8% increase. Stopping percentage went slightly up as well, and even in conversion took up as well. So an even extra 6% in conversion was the result, because there was a high opportunity. There was already a lot of great conversion and stopping, but they needed footfall, and this is what we created. And actually through creating this end cap on an inspirational side, there was an extra advantage, because it was not only what we were trying to focus on, extra visits, but through this, there was a better conversion to stopping percentage and final conversion in sales as well. So it was actually a plus overall in the categories. So that was also the extra. Engagement, sure. Okay, so we have all that. Finally, let me see. As takeaways, just a bit to show the things that we can do, because we talked about different examples. So we can do it within the category. We can do a lot of work. Ideally, we always try to be with our clients, with our partners, to be included into the category review process, because there are a lot of things we can do. Like I said, we can work on the inspiration side for tests, the review afterwards, take deep dives into your promotion, into your signage, communication on the retailer side, the brand side, of course. How is it performing? How are your products performing? Are there tests you want to do maybe? See if some truths are actually truths or not, because sometimes we base it on a bit of feeling, an older experience, sales data. But like I said, the strong thing about it is with Xovis' technology and then the software and the service that we link to it, is we'll have a view of not just the 20 who buy, of your 100 shoppers, but the full 100 who actually went, who actually came by and spent time in your departments and perhaps made some links and had difficulty finding some things. So if there is anything I'd like to leave you with before taking potentially any questions, if there would be one, is we can track full shopper flow from smaller stores to very, very large ones, which is for us we've done before, which is all good. For actionable insights, macro level and micro level. So within, it's the centimeter level precision, within subcategories to major categories. We can go for, so space optimization. You can always link it to your customer needs. And in the end, it's all about, increasing your sales revenue stream. So trying to increase there, which is also, that's the whole point of doing everything that we do here. And finally, there's an international track record. So we have our office in Belgium as well as in New York, which means that we're active in different continents. And so we have several use cases where we can actually draw experience from trends that we saw, things that we can eat, where it enables us to assist and see, okay, how can we help you move these tests forward or optimize extra and go in that sense, okay? So those are the main parts. All right, thanks.